How Caleb had convinced Isaac to stay for dinner, Leanne had no idea. But this couldn't lead to anything good. Leanne knew she couldn't leave now without being completely rude, but if she told them she couldn't stay because she didn't feel well, it wouldn't be a lie. Her pulse had skyrocketed, leaving her lightheaded and her stomach queasy. At least if she passed out, it would be genuine. Bree gave her husband a strained smile before standing and saying, "I'll get the food ready. Want to help me?" "I can help," Leanne said, attempting to follow her, but struggling to get out of the butt print she'd created in the couch cushion. They seriously needed new furniture. How had Bree done it? She'd made it look so easy. "We got this covered," Caleb said, waving Leanne off. "You just relax and we'll have it out in a moment." Seriously? After everything that had just happened, they were going to leave her with Isaac? Yep, they totally were. At least it was an open kitchen design, so they weren't completely alone, though with the tension that had just settled over them, they might as well have been. Isaac still hadn't moved and looked like a sentry at his post, protecting that front door. From where she sat, Leanne could see Caleb and Bree, taking their sweet time as they moved around the kitchen while talking in hushed tones. Her gaze scanned the room, but it kept coming back to Isaac. She felt bad seeing him standing there, his gaze on the floor. He apparently hadn't been tempted to look her way, unlike her who couldn't stop. She blew out a frustrated breath. This was ridiculous. They were two adults. Mostly. They could do this. "I promise I won't attack if you sit down," she finally said. Isaac didn't acknowledge her words. She tried again. "What are you going to do? Have them serve you over there at the door?" He didn't respond to that either. Just shifted his weight a little, like his feet were starting to tire. "Would it help if I stood on the other side of the room?" Leanne didn't wait for a response this time. She rocked herself, trying to get out of the couch so she could give Isaac more breathing room. Not like there were very many places she could go, considering the size of the apartment. Her attempts failed, however, and she frowned. A quick glance told her that Isaac's resolve had weakened, and he was finally watching her instead of the floor. His lips were still pressed into a serious line, but his eyes crinkled in amusement. "You could help me, you know," she said. Isaac didn't move. Leanne hadn't expected him to, knowing it had been too much to hope for. But then he surprised her by stepping forward, though hesitantly. When he reached her, he paused. But rather than hold out his hand to help her up like a normal person would do, he grabbed her by the arm and pulled her up so quickly she flew to her feet. She'd forgotten how strong he was. He quickly let go, like she had burned him, and then retreated toward the window. At least he was finally away from the door. Leanne rubbed her arm where he'd held her, confused by the interaction. "Did I hurt you?" Isaac asked, misinterpreting the gesture. His brows were furrowed in concern. "No," she said, dropping her arms to her sides. And that was the truth. It hadn't physically hurt. It had twisted her emotions into a pretzel, though, making her realize that this was not the same man she'd left 2 years ago. Then again, she wasn't the same woman, and that touch had said it all. It had felt so unfamiliar, nothing like when Isaac used to caress her arms, his fingers gentle and his gaze longing. The way he was looking at her now, it was as if they'd never met.